Eve, I want to thank you so much for being here and being willing to share your knowledge and wisdom with the people in the group. Um, we will speak today about branding. Is that okay? Yeah,
Of course.
so this is your specialty, right?
Absolutely. I do it for the last 17 years.
Wow. And we will speak about branding for authors because it is very important. People don't really understand what is branding. I mean, even me, who have studied graphic design, I learned from the university that branding is all about your business card and your letterhead, which is not in reality, is it? It's something much more.
Well, logos and cards is a serious part of branding, but just a part. Let's say, all design is just a nice wrapping paper for fantastic ideas and values, whichever them. And that's what branding is all about.
I see. So, as being in your group for a while, I must say that I learned a lot as well. So I really strongly recommend to all people who want to join your group, they should go and check it out because you bring so much information, valuable information. And so I wanted you to tell me a little more about what you do exactly and how would you express branding, what it is.
All right, so let's start from the definition. The definition of branding is pretty simple. It's actually creating the image in customer's mind. So we create the image in customers' minds through various ways, including design, including ideas, including how we talk, what we talk, and all other way of communication, including customers' experience. And then in the end of the day, the image in customers' mind is a brand.
I see. So how this would apply to an author and why is it important?
Well, it's pretty interesting. You see, I did study graphic design long time ago in Art Academy, and I also had specialty book design. So I know the book design pretty well. And interestingly, my teacher told me many times that you seems more focused on branding than on book design. So like move forward with that rather than books. So I know how to combine those things pretty well. And why it is really important, because when we create a book, we will talk about the product branding. And the product branding, it's again, product creating image in customer's mind, and author creating personal brand. So there are two brands combined together, they create an impression, and then customers decide, would they like to read the next book from that author? Because we not talk about one book only. I think that every author prefer to write again and again and again and make as many books as possible.
Exactly.
So that where branding actually helps. It's not really, I mean, it obviously can help to sell one book as well, but we're supposed to think big, aren't we?
Yes, that's so true. For example, I've seen there are some people in the group. There is someone who is making fantasy books, and it is a series of books. You have seen them, haven't you? And all three books have a similar idea in their cover. That is something like a brand, isn't it?
When we talk about the series of the book,
yes,
we definitely would like to create the connection between all books in customers' minds, so they do not think that, okay, I buy one book and that's it. We're trying to create that idea as a mystery, so they would like to read more and buy next book and be excited about that. But let's say there are many cases when actually this technique is a little bit overused. And I'll give you an example, which probably heard about this book, Aragon, which was very popular. It's a fantasy book. It was very popular like several years ago, and it was written by a young boy. It's a fantasy book which was announced as a trilogy. It was so popular that they even make the one movie on first book. in Hollywood. So popular it was. Unfortunately, the author seems become a little bit greedy, or maybe couldn't finish the book in time. In the end of the day, there were 4 books instead of trilogy. So for the reader, I think it's a little bit an issue, because when you expect things are working together, you expect next book and the marketing work for that and branding work for that. And then when you get the 3rd book, and they say, sorry, there is a 4th book also ahead. We want to make more money from you. You get unhappy customers. So this I giving you example how the thing can work against you.
Yeah.
As well as for you.
Yeah, that's true. Tell me a little about, there is an author and they create a book. For example, it is something like self-development. And in order to progress in their business, they need to have this book in such a way that they will bring customers in their coaching practice or in their healing practice. And they will need to adjust their branding in all areas, in the book, the website, the way they appear, even the way they appear in interviews or podcasts. How can this happen, and what are the main things that someone needs to take care of so they will be sure that their branding is consistent and appropriate?
Okay, in such a situation which you just described, it's actually not exactly a branding for the book, because in this situation, when we talk about the book as a part of the funnel, actually, because we probably will not even expect to make a lot of profit from that book. This book is rather an attraction and ability to expand the database of our subscribers, of our buyers. So it's a little bit different function of the book itself from the beginning. So when we talk about this, definitely we can talk about 3 parts of branding. Like branding, we can consider there are 3 types of branding. There is a personal branding, there is a product branding, and there is a business branding. So some businesses can use just a personal branding, like for example, if you are a coach, you just work one-on-one with people and you create personal brand and people trust you, they try to know you more, and you work on your personality become a brand personality in such a situation. When we build the serious business, like let's say Marie Forleo and her B-School, this is a school, this is a business branding. When her brand personality, brand personality for business, it's like something a little bit separate, like a virtual entity. And that brand personality work together with a personal brand of Marie Forleo. So they start working together, but in that business, we already not need the presence of the main person.
I see.
People create a relationship between them and business. So in business branding, we do create relationship between business and customer. In personal branding, we create relationship between person and customer.
Good.
In product branding, we create relationship between product and customer. And in this situation, I give you example, the best example is Apple. iPhone, because you will find the whole tribe of people who are absolutely crazy. I recently just talked to one lady and she said, you do design and you don't use Mac? And that was like, she was offended because from your perspective, I supposed to use Mac and iPhone because I'm in this industry. So that's a perception in customers' mind, and they make it brilliantly. So you see, this is also described. So if we will talk how all these 3 work together, we can talk about, say, brand Oprah Winfrey and Harpo. When she has business Harpo, which is a lot actually talk about books, etc., and make a lot of charity and things like that. But her personal brand enhanced that brand a lot, right?
Uh-huh.
and also magazine and things like this, which is
Yeah.
also part of art. So another example is Richard Branson and Virgin.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about his personality as a person, and the brand is separate, and there are plenty of products which they present. What unite all the things together is philosophy, values which they represent, and things which they stand for. So that's why when we talk about branding, we first of all talk about the things which we stand for. This is our why, this is our reasons to be in this business, this is our reason why we want to serve these people. So consistency starts from the idea in our mind, what we want to share with the world. And then we just rub this consistency in our books, in our funnels, in our designs, and everything else, and absolutely go together because we know what we want to say. This is our message, this is our philosophy, and this is how we see us in 5 years ahead.
And I have seen many self-development professionals, especially, who are not really clear. They are a little confused. They go like, and I used to be one of them actually for many years in the past. And we tend to say, well, I have this talent and I have that talent and I can do that and I can serve these people, but I can serve those people as well. And they don't niche. They don't have clarity on what they exactly do and for whom. So in that case, branding is very difficult. Do you have any suggestion on how people can get clear without feeling that they will lose a part of themselves? Because there is the problem, I think. They think that if they just focus on a certain area of their talents or on a certain area of prospect clients, they will lose clients, or they will just have to quit something that they like doing. So how can they combine what they do in order to have a proper brand?
I got your question. See, when I help my clients to work, I usually start with a personal brand first, because as I just mentioned, we need to understand the values and why you're actually in business. The next step, I usually help people with the target audience. So this is exactly your question. Because without knowing, like, you understand who you are and what you do, and now we come who you sell. I mean, who is your buyer? So in this situation, again, let's start with a little bit of theory. In marketing, there are two types of marketing. One is customer-oriented marketing, and one is product-oriented marketing. So let's say Coca-Cola is a product-oriented marketing, and when we talk about the companies which are product-oriented, they do make profit differently. They do increase the production base, decrease the cost of the main product, and so they increase the values of the products which they sell. In such a situation, they all the time increase in production, and in that way, they increase in their profit. So that's why when many people give us, as example, Coca-Cola is a best brand, it's not entirely correct in relevance to coaches or people who make one-on-one or any kind of customer-oriented business. So what is the customer-oriented marketing and customer-oriented branding? When we talk about customer-oriented branding, we start talking about specialization. And the specialization means that we do not target all market like product-oriented companies do. We target particular segment. What it gives us, we say that we exactly know the problems and have solutions for particular type of people in this world, or we can limit them with geographic, we can limit them with gender, age, whatever we want to do. So we talk that we, for example, want to sell for women, okay?
Yeah.
Then when the moment we say we want to sell for women, then we start narrowing the segment and talk about target audience. So what people are in that segment. So in that segment, there will be women between some age, in some geographic location, with some habits, with some interests and other factors, and that will be our target audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those people, it will not be all people, there will be some particular people. When we talk about coaches, we usually talk about people who they can help. And then we come to the concept of ideal client, which is not actually within the marketing area, because marketing is mathematical thing. So it's anything which you can calculate.
Uh-huh.
When we talk about ideal client, we talk about something with who you like to work.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about likes and emotions, it's more about mindset. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit different area of expertise. So then we're trying to understand who we can help and who we like to help. And then we talk about the profile of ideal client who love to work with us, and it's mutual joy to work together. Then obviously it's an ideal option. That's why it's ideal client. It's not necessary that every second client of yours will be your ideal client, but we're trying to build that idea in our mind that there are some people who we try to talk to. In a moment we have this image, start mm-hmm. talking to them in our communication. That means that every second message which we build, every design which we create is designed with that person in our mind. We talk about their problem, we talk about their desires, we talk about their dreams, and we help them, only them, not 100 millions of other people.
Yeah.
In such a way, what is the benefit of this kind of marketing? Because we become known expert for this particular type of problems or expert in this segment, mm-hmm. it allows us to increase prices. Because when you are only specialist or one of the few specialists in this segment, obviously you can increase prices and do not sell one bottle of Coke for 30 cents or something like that. Yeah. Your prices will be much higher.
Yeah, that's true.
But in order to create the authority, you write your book, because the book is actually a Coca-Cola. It spread the awareness about your brand, spread awareness about your expertise. And that's how it works in that particular situation. So all that small values are packed nicely in the book, and uh-huh. the book is actually spread across the world just to grab attention of your target audience.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So you do believe that a book is a very good marketing tool for self-development professionals?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I believe that so too. And also, as you were saying these things, I was thinking that the difference between self-publishing and classic publications is that self-publishing is gaining so much control in the market, because classic publications, they don't understand that much the idea of focusing to one problem for one specific type of people. I wrote a book for women, for mothers who want to work from home. And it was very, very specific. So when I went to the publishers, they all told me, we like very much your book. We want to publish it, but we don't want you to speak only to women. We wanted to make it wider because we want to reach many people. So you need not to say she or speak in a way that it shows you speak to moms or to women. You need to speak to men and women as well. And we don't want you to focus only to people who have kids, because maybe other people want to work from home. And so cross this paragraph and cross this paragraph out, and don't speak about kids and don't speak about that. And they were like, hello, this is my book and I speak to women who want to work from home. That's not my book, it's your book. And it just didn't work. I just thought I should self-publish it, because what's the point? What's the point in talking to everybody for anything?
This is exactly
yeah.
This is exactly where you touch the point which we just discussed. because they perceive your book as a product brand. They do try to sell as many as possible of
Yes,
items. They do
yes,
not bother to sell more expensive item for the segment where you are an expert. So the task in their mind is different than in yours. And as we discussed, as I told on the beginning of our discussion, in your situation, probably the book is not a profit maker, because this is a part of the funnel which attract more clients for the higher paying services, for the higher paying packages.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Um, Now, when we come to more visual things on branding, I was very confused about branding for myself because, I was like, my ideal clients would like to see me in green and yellow. They would like to, what is that, what they want? So I created polls. I started researching on what they prefer for, my own promotion and things like that. And nothing really stuck there. It was very confusing. And then I thought, well, how about I choose what I really enjoy, and the people who find it attractive, they probably are the best match for me. So I create this black, gray, magenta thing, and I'm quite happy with that. And funny is that it seems that I attract men as well with these colors, and and they hear what I have to say, not how girly is my appearance, you know what I mean? So tell me a little about that. How can people choose exactly their colors, their typefaces, the appearance of their branding?
See, I love your questions because you're practically going by my program. So as I just told you, in my first part, I talk about personal branding, then we discuss the clients, then we discuss how to convert this all in business, and then we come to the creation part where I help my clients to create design. And that exactly, so we go in a right consistency to understand what brand is all about. I'm happy that you're asking these questions in this sequence, because it means that you start understanding this works somehow that way, and that good. So the truth is that what I discover in person, I just told that I work in branding for 17 years, and I create a lot of brands for corporates. And what happened when we work with corporates, we do work with employers. So for employees, it's like, okay, that look fine, let's do this logo, etc. So there is no emotional connection.
Yeah.
But when we come to small businesses, when we come to solopreneurs, when we come to authors, when we come to coaches, the situation is vastly different, because the brand is taken in a very, very personal way. Mm-hmm. And I would say that right branding is a very powerful vehicle for your business, because it gives that confidence and strength with which you will not hide, because you will be proud of that what you're doing. That sense of pride, the sense of confidence, make women with who I work, with who I create these brands, I mean, they're unbeatable. They're just so powerful. In the moment they choose right colors, I couldn't believe it, honestly speaking. It's so magical, and it just right colors. I never could expect in my 17, can you imagine, years of experience that colors can make such a dramatic difference in human mind. So what happened with most of my clients, and specifically women, we actually grown in such a society where, let's say, women are a little bit suppressed with their rights and feelings, so they not feel confident to speak out whatever they think. And when we come to the business, when we come to the necessity to speak about what you do and promote what you do, most of the women say, I would like to keep it private. I would like to keep it in my group. I'm not sure I want to show everywhere. Am I sound too salesy? So that confidence is not there, and it has nothing to do with the talents or personality. It's mostly about this kind of society where we've grown up.
Yeah.
And in the moment they get that right branding, the transformation is incredible. They just change, they just become flowers, they blooming, they start saying, yes, here is my brand, let me show you.
Oh, that's so brilliant.
Yeah, and that changed everything for their business. I never could expect this kind of effect with corporates, because frankly speaking, they're not really interested in colors or fonts. But it's so really important for solopreneurs and for small businesses. And I also saw it with men in business, because I do work a lot in offline business with men. When they have their own businesses, and let's say, most of them usually have their business for several years already, they achieve certain profits and things like that. But the status, the level of their company is not that high, because, let's say they ask some designer, not from Fiverr, but from similar place, to create that kind of design. It doesn't give them that excitement. Many times they get some cards which are far more brilliant than that what they have. And when they get the right branding, you should see what kind of transformation happened to that man. They become proud lions, they become owners of life. It's crazy. And in case of men, it's probably more about status than about colors, but it's still transformational, because they just become different. And that's so exciting to see that their life become different, because they feel so much more confident and happy. So that's a magical part of branding. But let's talk about the technicality, because the colors and all the things, it's a lot about techniques. And obviously there are three main important things which I always tell to my clients to make what colors and fonts and your messages do. They do create a memory, a strong memory in your customer's mind. So there are three things which your clients will remember about you, and it's, frankly speaking, work like in Pavlov dog situation.
Yep.
You create a red lamp and dog is salivating, because previously she was given food with red lamp alone. So in this situation, you create your color and you give very valuable content all the time. So next time when they see your colors, they say, oh, it seems to be something nice. They already create appreciation just based on the colors. They didn't even read your topic, but they already expect something good.
I see.
So, yeah. So the first thing is colors. The second memorable things are fonts. And there is huge difference between, I think we're stuck.
No.
We're stuck?
No.
Okay. So there is a huge difference between fonts, which are free fonts, which are available like Google fonts or something like this, and really expensive, nice fonts, which you can purchase on solid sites. I think like Typeface, I'm not sure, typography.com, I guess. This is very, very expensive site for very professional fonts. But let's say we will not use them because they're expensive. But yeah, ideally we should. So those fonts, people don't know the names of the fonts. Those fonts create dynamic memory. So some shapes and some style create a strong association in customer's mind. Let's say if you will use fonts, serif fonts like Times New Roman, people will believe that you are sophisticated and very official.
Sure.
Serious, official, and it has certain impression. Most of such fonts will have that expression. If you will use fonts without serifs, grotesque fonts, they will create impressions that you are straightforward, you are powerful, and pretty simple. You do not pretend, you are honest also. And they are pretty bold, they attract attention a lot. But they do not attract attention with some tricky, freaky ways. They do attract attention pretty straightforward. Just come here, buy now, something like that. When we talk about script fonts, which I think it's disaster for most of the women entrepreneurs who create their own designs, because when we talk about free script fonts which are available, they're usually not of the excellent quality as they're supposed to.
They are not readable very well. Yeah.
That's why they are not readable very well. And when person take these fonts as a main fonts, they lose on readability, and people will just not read your messages, and you just lose customers, just straightforward because of the simple mistake like font.
Yeah.
So what I recommend, you can use script fonts, but never use them as a main message. Use them as an accent fonts. Like you want to write something more decorative somewhere. So just to attract attention to the shape, which not really important for your customer. It's just a decorative element. It's perfectly fine to use some script elements in that case, because people not really need to read it. And if they not read it, you lose nothing. In such a case, you can use script fonts, but mostly avoid them.
Yeah.
So the third element, which I always talk, attract customers' mind and memorable, is a treatment of your images, whether it is design, whether it is photography. Like, let's say I think that most of the people remember me because I deliberately use only black and white images for a very long time.
Yes, with some blue somewhere.
You remember my color. So the truth is, I did it deliberately. I'm not such an extra fan of black and white photography. I just did it absolutely with mathematical strategy. I knew that if I will put black and white image with my color will get in your mind. And this is exactly example which you just say. You just say, it is some blue color.
Yeah, some blue somewhere, yeah.
Some blue color. So that's the point. Nobody remember the pictures, but some blue color. Now I'm going to use my designs actually without black and white color. Let me see how that will work, because I expect for that time when I use that, people already remember that some blue color of mine. That was a strategical idea, how the color and fonts, I use very straightforward, grotesque fonts, which grab attention with blue color, actually create that memory sequence in my customer's mind. It will work for everyone because people remember one color, one font, and one picture treatment.
Exactly, yeah.
As simple as this.
Yeah, and I get so frustrated when I see, authors try to create their own covers or their own websites, and because they want to emphasize different things, they use 3, 4, 5 different fonts. And it's like, my God, you only need to use at the most two fonts, one to be readable, one to be for titles and for logo style things. We don't need too many fonts. We don't. It's so wrong in my point of view. And even if they use the same font, sometimes they stretchen it, other times they squeeze it, and they make it bold, they make it italics, they use all kinds of different ways.
That's a huge pain for any designer who sees such as self-made things. I understand. I feel your pain. The truth is that I remember that when I studied in academy, my neighbor, she was a DTP operator. She didn't know anything about design. She was just creating books for her company. And she asked me to design a huge amount of covers for her. And the covers were mainly based on fonts. And that's it, because they were actually embossed on some interesting paper. So that was exactly in the shoot, because most of the covers came to me with this exact treatment, which you mentioned. Everything is messed, and that was disaster. So my work was actually to take this disaster and make it excellent, remove everything, all distractions.
Yeah, so, it is a distraction. It is definitely, yeah.
So I think that from 18 to 20 years old, I did remove distraction on quite, regular basis.
Yeah.
And the truth is, you're right, that people, frankly speaking, I think people are not supposed to design things on their own. I think that if they not have professional training they're supposed to give the things to designers. And the reason is very simple. They are coaches or they are professional in something, and that's great. And I think that giving the work, like, which they are not really aware how to do to professionals, it's a really good idea, because it will allow them to focus on their business, on their marketing, on their promotion, and get results. Because this is mistake number one, which I see with, I think, 99% of the market. Let me give you an example of the corporates. Because they have money which are not their own, they're usually very strange spenders. So they would buy, say, place in newspaper for, say, $4,000, $5,000, one exposure of the advertising. And then they will try to save on designer. And, designer in such a situation will charge them around $500 maximum, maybe $400 for one newspaper ad. And that would be on a good quality. And they will try to save on designers. They will hire designer for $50 or $20. Because really, why to spend on designer when you spend on the place in newspaper? And I say, guys, you're going to show something in newspaper on which you spend a huge amount of money. Why do you want to sell that? Nobody will ever call you. You create impression with that.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You create impression.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to actually invest more in a good designer and care about how your message designed, in a good copywriter who will create excellent copy, converting copy.
Yeah.
And that somehow doesn't come in their mind.
It's strange, the way you say it is like, if you go to make a good shooting for your profile, and the photographer wants something like, let's say, $300 for this wonderful picture you will make. And because you will give to the photographer this money, you won't go to the hairdressers and you won't have makeup because that costs. And you will...
You will not even go to shower, I think, with such a logic.
Yeah, and it's like, you will just wash your hair and go for the shooting, but the shooting will not be good if you do not appear appropriate.
Yeah.
So,
believe me.
Yes, and the designer knows all the bits and parts that people should address. And as you mentioned before, when they have a really good branding in all areas of their work, they get so much confidence.
Exactly.
And I can see that. I mean, for example, there is a lady, she's called Gianna Gabellini. I don't know if you have seen her. She has invested so much money in her, I think she has. It shows so professional, all her photographs, all her portraits, her website, her landing pages, her book, her covers, everything's shows so professional. So when you look at her and you go to check out her programs, you do not expect that her programs would cost less than $2,000. You would not expect that it would be cheap. And if you go to look for her, you will get the best quality because she respects what she's offering. And it's pity because you see some people, I've met people who are so exceptional in what they're doing. They're healers and coaches, and they're so good. And they appear in a photo that they made on the, mirror in their toilet. And you see in the corner it's like, you see something like this, and you can see even the phone inside, and people will not respect, they will not trust a person who...
Let's talk about this. That's pretty interesting part, because the business which I run online is called Brand Plus Photo School. And let me tell you why. Because truly speaking, I mean, that exactly may be a case of the double passion thing. However, I don't really see that photography is somehow different from branding when we talk about the good quality of photography. And I'm really happy that you mentioned that. I do photography from my childhood because my father was absolutely passionate about photography, and I started with film photography and all that crazy things, totally like a hobby because it never was a profession in my country. So I just, for all my life, along with my branding work, I always provided some photography to my clients. Happened to be, I never considered myself as a professional at all. Happened to be that when I came to India, once upon a time we did photograph on some factory for our client. Our company, we did hire a photographer. So photographer, for the professional photographer, he did create everything and stuff like that. But me and my business partner, we did photograph things on our own cameras because we're both very passionate about photography, and we did give our art directors, creative directors view photographer so he can replicate it in a better equipment. In the end of the day, the client did buy 90% of the pictures which we clicked on our cameras. And that gave a start for our photography business. That sounds crazy, but we start photography business because our amateur's photography, because we did it for so many years, because I have art background. I did study art for over 12 years. I do understand the things. I also studied a little bit in Cinematography Institute to understand how photography actually worked with our thing. So while it was my hobby, it converted in our side profitable business. We charge a lot for our photography because it's not our bread and butter. This is something which we do for fun, so we allow to charge for that a little bit more than average level. And the level of our photography is definitely higher because we do think from the brand perspective. And the direction how we call our photography, it is called brand-driven photography, because we do create photography based on the values and trying to show things through the perspective, through the prism of your brand. So that what you just mentioned is, because nowadays I do commercial photography time to time for a lot of money. So I do it not very often, maybe once, twice a month or something like this. We do photograph CEOs of the big companies, or we do photograph some food for some really, really fantastic restaurants. So we make videos of pictures for our clients mostly. I can tell you that this problem of photographing yourself with the phone is more often than you can imagine, because I think several weeks ago we did make advertising for our client, and the lady who sent her photo, she clicked it on her phone in her car.
In her car?
It is, yeah, I mean, we cut background. She just click herself in a car, for front camera of your iPhone.
Yeah.
And this is a photo which we choose for all newspapers for the front page. That's crazy, no?
No.
That's crazy.
She didn't even think of going to the park or something?
No. Not at all. And that newspaper, that is not even social media.
Oh my God.
So that's more common than you can imagine. I'm glad that it was in a car, not in toilet, honestly speaking.
Oh, that's so crazy.
So so the value of the photography is tremendous. That's why I mentioned that the treatment of photography is a third memorable part. And yes, professional photography is really important. However, there is one small thing. We do understand that good photographer, frankly speaking, will not take $300. Good photographer will probably take $1,000 per day. I'm talking about India. People say that India is not very expensive country. So we talk about Indian prices. And the truth is at about $1,000 per day. if you talk about the good photographer, wedding prices are kind of different because photographers also have their own specialization. Commercial photography is more expensive, and we do commercial photography, so that's why I know our prices. That's why. The thing is, when we talk about the commercial photography, not every solopreneur can have or hire professional photographer,
especially when they start.
Even when we talk about $300, it's still expensive. So I would not reject the idea that we can photograph pictures on our phones. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely doable. And frankly speaking, I did many of my pictures on phone, and I also did give several webinars for people. I mean, people did invite me to make not webinars, workshops, live work for smartphone photography for bloggers. So I did prove in that workshops that if I will photograph with the right lighting, if I will make photo for DSLR, with the same lighting, with the right settings, if I will photograph on my phone, which is not even iPhone, I do use Asus Zenfone. It's not expensive phone at all because, I mean, my phone was broken. I just replaced it in a blink, and I never hesitate about that. It's really, really affordable phone. I think it's like around $400 or $300, something like that. And it gives absolutely excellent quality of pictures, good enough to use in the blog and social media. The reason for the good photo is not the phone. The reason for the good photo is understanding how to click the good picture. That understanding is actually what we can learn. So that's all doable. And when people say that, oh, with smartphone, everybody are photographers, I would say, all right, if everybody are photographers, let them all provide excellent quality. So, no problem with that.
Yeah, that's true.
So you just need to learn how to make good pictures, and stop doing official pictures in toilets. You're right. So that's true.
Brilliant. I think we have covered almost everything that we could in the hour that we have. So before we finish this conversation, first of all, I would like to ask you if there is anything you think that we should tell to people about branding and books and promotion, personal promotion, that I haven't asked you, something that I haven't thought about.
Because as we go in by my program, by accident, I will also like to talk about this brand strategy, because this is a key ingredient which is really important.
Strategy.
Yes. This is how you're going to promote your brand, because it's not only about, okay, you have ideas, you know who you're going to sell, you wrap it in a brilliant design because you order it from a very professional designer. You hire a super professional photographer, or you learn how to make your pictures on your smartphone. Brilliant you.
Okay.
What to do with all that? We have all our ingredients, and now we actually start cooking. Because when we have our brand, it's not exactly a moment when we have it. We have to launch it. We have to start promoting it and build impression in our client's mind. And believe me, unfortunately, this is a point where most of the people really have a lot of fears. Even with all that confidence and things which they got, they still have a lot of resistance from the past. So when they get down to the market, they say, and what now? What to do? And they're panicking, they don't know what to do, and they start messing up. So when we talk about social media, first of all, we need to understand two things. 10 years ago, when the world was led by corporates, the cost of advertising was count on thousands and thousands of dollars, because as I mentioned, the advertising in newspaper might cost you about $2,000, $4,000 for just one advertising. And obviously, any solopreneurs, nobody could afford to advertise themselves on a regular basis, except maybe put little font somewhere in yellow pages or something like that. It was just simply not affordable, not for everyone. However, the magic happened when first Twitter come, then blogs come, and then social media come into picture. And that allowed to the regular people, just like you and me, build a brand with the same success as huge corporates. The truth is that right now, any smallest business, tiniest business, if they have the right idea, the right branding, and the right cause to do, they can compete with huge corporates on ease, because people will trust to person, to individual much more, because they can contact that person, because they believe in this person. And there are many, many stories of successes. But to order to get this success, we have to get visible. We have to get visible, not necessarily on all social media. We need to understand that if our product is visual, for example, we have some jewelry or something like this, we can use some visual platforms like Instagram or Pinterest. If we are in book design, not design, if we are in book writing, we would rather go to public who are more comfortable with words. So we will go on Twitter, we will go on Medium, we definitely will go on Facebook in all conditions, because it is the biggest audience in the world. So in all cases, we will be on Facebook. So we just need to strategically think that our product, our idea, very much which platform to choose. If we will talk about, if we have a lot of to talk about in life, we may use Periscope along with Twitter. We may use Facebook Live, and just based on our live presence, create a lot of awareness about our brand. But it depends on personality. If somebody is uncomfortable with camera, there are many people like that, it probably will not work for them. So we need to think strategically which work best for our brand, and start putting our information regularly, create content on a daily basis, start creating Facebook advertising when we actually talk about our personality, when we talk about our content, not necessarily just promote our products all the time. In our advertising, Facebook advertising, we can boost our videos, we can boost our posts, we can boost our thoughts, and attract people to personality, to the ideas and values of our brand, and build the connection. So in this strategic part, we actually build the connection. And the most important part, obviously, we need to comment and communicate to people in person, because there are many people who tempt, as I say, throw the data in the face of your customers. They come online and they say, hey, here's me, I do this good, buy it. And I'm buying. Nobody buy, because that's like a slap. Even if your product is brilliant, it's just go and buy it. Come on. You know, you have to build relationship, you have to talk to people, you have to just be human being. And that's when people say that you have to be you have to be a person with whom people would like to work. So that's a key point of the brand, when the brand touches the market, and then they start bringing profit and all happiness and successful business. It's like, you know, when we talk about the combination of brand and personal connection, like let's say somebody with horrible brand can connect you and say, hey, I'm so good, this, that, and you see his design and you're like, you're good, thank you. You know, it happened many times. And so that's why the things work together. When you wrap your product excellently, when you wrap your message excellently, when you're absolutely consistent in your messages all the time, and then you contact people, they feel very good, because they feel, oh, such a wonderful person contact me. That's so awesome. I mean, you're really excited because you already expect, like, you know, something sweet, because you saw that kind of, you know, all wrapping, all that branding, and you feel that it has to be something interesting, it has to be something good, because you're already excited.
Exactly. So would you like to tell us a little more about your program? Of course, where people can find you, how they can work with you if they want, and what is this program that you were talking about?
Yes, sure. Of course, I will like to talk about my program. Um, you obviously everybody can find me on brandplusphoto.com. This is a site which I call Brand Plus Photo School. This is a lot of blog information where you can read my thoughts about branding, and most of the ideas which we discussed today, they actually somehow in some form are there, and there is a lot of information on photography as well, and on branding as well, and on marketing, and how to make your business consistent, and all these kind of things. This is the one part where you can clearly connect. And I also will share with you my link on 4 keys of success for successful business, for successful brand. This is just a checklist if you are not sure that you build your brand in a right way. So this is a little roadmap, and you can see what you need to achieve for your brand to actually call yourself a brand. And it also goes along with the audio course, which is delivered by email. So it's just a simple free thing which you can download and become a little bit more brand than you are right now. So when we talk about the program, the program is called social media branding. And this program is, I serve just about 4 people per month. So it's a secret program which I didn't announce yet. It will, I already serve several people, but because they are still in the loop, I do not yet made official launch of it. It will be launched in the end of the February.
Oh, good.
And I believe that everybody will be excited to start building this brand because this is just a 1 month program where people can build their brand from the personal brand to get the clarity on the target audience, to get a lot of understanding how business brand connect personal brand and target audience, create the tone of the voice, and then I will create design for you along with you, because we will work together. I will ask for your personal preferences, and all my professional hands will help you to create super professional design, which then will be end with a fantastic session of strategy when I will tell you how to implement everything and be popular, how to make your content and things like this. There are many bonuses in there, along with the guide on photography, which I mentioned, when people can learn how to use their smartphone to click pictures for their social media, and how to get a little bit more professional in photography with their smartphones and literally save thousands of dollars just because they can do it on their own. There is also a little content book when people can understand how to create content and be consistent and brand-wise consistent with a brand. So in 1 month, you will be wrapped up with all amazing branding, which is matched to all social media. And you will get templatized design. That means that you will be able to work on it again and again and again, and add different pictures, different text.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And in very fast amount of time, very little amount of time. 1 month is, it's
this
great.
is almost the part of this course. Every module has one-on-one coaching session.
Wow.
So how I build it is pretty simple. I have a material which clients go through. And after that, we have coaching session when we discuss what kind of things can be improved. In third module, clients start creating their own brand book, which means that once they create their own brand book based on the template which I gave them, they can hire some VA, or they can hire a designer, they can hire a copywriter, and make them understand how your brand is going to work across all medias. Because as entrepreneurs, we not really always have time to design all the things. We mostly like to give it to some professionals.
Yeah,
so that's very helpful.
So people can come and find out about your program, or they have to wait till the launching day?
I see you excited. Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that the program is ready. So if somebody desperately wanted, they can actually contact me because I can put them in the list. But program will officially be launched in the end of the February, and I will launch it every 3 months, which means that every people will come on a fast serving basis. So who make the payment first, they will come first in a loop, and then they will go like one by one. So that will happen in February, and yeah, I can share some details in either in private or in the group.
Sure, brilliant. So thank you so much. It was a really, really interesting conversation. I learned a lot personally. Yeah, there were many things that I had some kind of gap in my understanding when it was about branding, and you really answered to all my questions and hopefully to all our group's questions. So yeah, I just want to thank you. And
thank you so much. It was wonderful conversation, and I'm so glad that you proved that my program is right, because you actually ask question one by one.
Oh, that's so fantastic. Yeah, I didn't ask the last question about how to promote all this because I didn't think that it had to do with you. But it's fantastic that you put all together, because in this way it makes the branding worthy.
Absolutely.
It makes it all worthy. Yeah. So brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.